Garmin DriveSmart 55. Most people show the DriveSmart 65. I got the 55. You know why? Because it's better. The first thing that makes it better is that this actually has a 1280 by 720 resolution, while the DriveSmart 65 has 1024 by 600. So yes, this has in fact better resolution and it's easier to read. Some people think bigger is better. Well, technically this is the better model and it's cheaper. So all you're paying for with the 65 is a bigger size, and if that's what you want, you can get it for sure, but this works just fine. I got this for 125. Brand new. It's a DriveSmart 55 EX, and the only difference between an EX and a non-EX is that the EX is sold through exclusively sold through retailers. Walmart's one of them. You'll see EX models there. There is no difference between an EX and a non-EX. They're the same. The only difference is that some come with Alexa, which this one did not. I didn't want that because I think that's garbage. Anyway, so yeah, let's the first thing is that no one ever shows the map on these things, so that's why I am showing this first, because this is the thing you see more than anything else, and you should see the map first. So there it is. There is the map. That is what it looks like. Now, as far as how does this compare to the DriveSmart, Drive Assist, actually DriveSmart 2, the previous generation, how does it compare to the 51 DriveSmart or Drive Assist? Notably better, because it is far less annoying and far more readable. I want you first to pay attention up here to the highway exit number. Now, while this is relatively the same size as the previous generation, this is much better. It's got a much thicker, more readable font. The turns feature, which I'll get to in a moment, that is the killer sale of this thing. That's why you get this. The speed limit is also bigger and thicker. This is bigger and thicker. This is bigger and thicker. This is bigger and thicker. It's all more readable. It's beautiful. And you'll notice up here that instead of the arrows coming up, stealing space from up here, it's down here. In addition to that, thank God those animated orange banners are 100% gone. Oh, those were things you could not turn off in the DriveSmart 50, Drive Assist 50, DriveSmart 51, and Drive Assist 51. You couldn't turn them off. This one, you can, which is great. And what it does is that instead of showing an animated banner, what will happen is that it will show a little icon down here instead for driver alert features. This is just so much better compared to the previous generation. This is not annoying to use. This is actually very nice to use. I very much appreciate this. But there are a couple of things that you need to know about this, which I'll tell you right now. So we'll go ahead and go into the settings, and I'll show you what I mean. Now, the first thing I would do is that when you get this thing, go to map layers. Now, there is a thing in this called history channel, or just history, not driver history. These are icons that appear on the map, which appear to be something you can't turn off. You can turn it off. Go to the map layers and go all the way down till you see these two, history and national parks. Now, you may want to leave this on at first. I guarantee you that the history one will annoy you. What will occur is that on the map you'll see this H icon, the history channel icon, which you can touch, and it gives you like little historical information about whatever you're passing through at the moment while you're driving. This is neat at first. It's a novelty, but what it does in very short order is that it gets in the way. You will want to disable this just by simply unchecking that. National parks, same thing. If you don't go to national parks often, well, if you do, have it on. If you don't, leave it off. Nowhere in the manual does it tell you to do this. So also for up ahead places, now you can configure this to show certain things if you like, but what I would do and what I do to keep the map clean, I just uncheck the whole thing. The only two things I have in here are 3D buildings and 3D terrain, which is mainly in cities and so on. That's it. That's the first thing I do. Now you notice that when I go through the menus here, they look a little bit choppy. That's because they are. The choppiness, however, only seems to appear for menu functions, and this is by design. So what happens is that all the animation power is given. See that? It was a little choppy up here, but the map, the animation's fine. I thought this was a flaw at first. I said, oh, is it underpowered processor? It's like, no, that's not the case. The case is that Garmin decided to design this thing so that the menus have sort of half frame rate, where the map itself has much better frame rate. And once I understood that, I said, okay, that makes sense. Now, in addition to that, also, I will say, I don't connect this to a phone. You can. They say, oh, you should connect it to a phone. Oh, you should do all this and do all that. I don't. All I use this for is just a bog standard navigator. In that respect, it works fine. And as a matter of fact, that's the thing I will show next. In the wireless settings, I have Bluetooth and Wi-Fi just disabled. I mean, I suppose, yeah, I could enable it for I don't even use it for updates. I'll connect it to my Windows 10 computer for updates. And speaking of which, and I might as well be completely transparent on this, my first attempt to update this thing botched. I had to actually update the maps twice. The first time it didn't work. Second time though, it did work. And I think that's because I had to do a software or firmware update, which it took, and then I did the update, and then it was fine after that. So, but it didn't go through smoothly the first time, but second time, no problem, and now it works just like it should. Now, also, yeah, this does have the ability to hook up a wireless camera for a backup camera if you want. It does have, the traffic, okay, that's kind of a weird one. It does have a traffic receiver built in, but it does not come with a power cable that has a traffic antenna built into it. What they want you to do is they want you to connect this to your phone with Bluetooth and use the Garmin Drive app. Like, I couldn't be bothered to do that. You could get a GTM 35, 36, or GTM 60 and get traffic that way, but as far as I'm concerned, I think the best option for you is, if you want traffic, use your phone. Seriously. Just have the phone on the side with Waze running or something like that and get your traffic updates that way. Use this just for navigation and you're good. Now, I'm trying to see if there's anything. There's really not much else I can show in the menu options here. If you know Garmin's at all, it's not all that different, which is good. It's got that. Oh, if you've never seen this before, I'll show this. Now, there's a bunch of maps in this, a whole bunch, and kind of like a 3597, Nuvi 3590, remember that one? This is really not that far off from it. You get the national parks map. The DEM is the digital elevation model. That's what gives it the 3D buildings and cities and stuff. You get the Parkopedia, you get the basic 3D, which works in concert with the DEM, and then you have the regular map down here. I purposely disable Foursquare because that is crap. The waypoints, the POIs are always off for that. I don't trust it, so I don't use, but that's the only thing I don't use. And, okay. Anything else in here I can show? Not really. Okay. So back on the map, this is the main thing here. Now, you ordinarily see this. This is what most people see. When you hit the speed, you've probably seen this before. This is from, Same as in other units, and you can reset the fields from here if you want. From here, this one can be configured to any one of these fields. There's a bunch, which is nice. The triple, it was weird that they changed it over to a triple dot instead of a hamburger, but anyway, it's a triple dot now. Here, and by the way, these you can press and hold and shuffle these around. You can move. Oh, notice that when I just leave it alone and I don't touch it for a while, it will actually go back to the map. I'll just let it sit there for a moment. But anyway, you can press and hold and you can shuffle those around. See there, it went back. You can shuffle them around if you want to get the position you like. Now the trip data, that puts this on the side, and each one of these fields is again configurable with a whole bunch of stuff. It's nice that it actually shows a color difference to show which one you have active. They don't allow two at once, meaning you can't have direction, 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 whereas in older models you could do that. It's a useless thing, you don't need it anyway. So you can configure those three fields, and my favorite, of course, is turns. This has been so much improved. Oh my god, I can't even begin to express how lovely this is. Your next turn is up here. Now it's got up aheads right now, but in regular city driving, you've got turn, next turn, turn after that, turn after that, turn after that, and it's in big, thick fonts. You can read this. I absolutely love it. And this thing, instead of a stupid animated banner, oh, I gotta show that first. I forgot to show that part in the setting. That's what I meant to show. I think it's under navigation. Is it? No, not here. Hold on. Take me a second to find it. Driver assistance. This is... Now, there's a couple of nice things here. On the driver alerts, you notice how it said disabled? Okay. Now, it used to be on the 50 series, 51 series, 60, 61 series, you could not disable any of this. You had to deal with it, meaning the stupid orange animated banner would come across the top. Oh my god, it was so annoying. This one, you can just go through here, and you got 4. You've got Animal Crossing, Railroad, Schools, and Curves. Now you'll notice that, see these icons here? What will happen is that if any of these are enabled, whenever you pass by one, that icon that you just saw will appear right here, instead of a banner, which is great. Now I think the DriveSmart 65 actually shows a banner. This one, the 55, does not. That is absolutely lovely. So again, that's under driver assistance, and you can go to the driver alerts. I have them all disabled. I don't want to see that garbage. Now you can have a tone when it's exceeding the speed limit. I find that annoying. This, however, reduced speed tone, I have the volume muted right now, but this is what happens. When this is checked, if you're going down a highway or some road and the speed limit is about to decrease, this turns yellow. Yes, it does. It will turn yellow and you'll hear a tone, just a single boom, like that, when a reduced speed limit is coming up. That's actually nice. It sounds like the tone you hear when you're on an airplane. You're like, bing, that sound. So this turns yellow. The number, and it will show you the upcoming speed limit. Like if this was going to change to 60, 65 or 60 or lower, it would turn yellow and you hear that tone. That's nice. That's very, very nice. It's the first one I've ever seen that does that, which is great. Brake planning, okay, I don't use it. So suggest brakes after driving for a long time, show services on long trip. I don't do that, but it's there. The proximity alerts is for red light cameras. Texas does not use red light cameras anymore, so I have that completely disabled. And yeah, that's it that's the only thing I didn't cover was the driver assistance stuff. Yeah, okay, pretty sure I'm done there. Anyway, back to here. So this turns feature, it's gorgeous. I love it. I can finally read this thing. Now, it's not that I'm blind as a bat, because I'm not. I'm only slightly nearsighted. But the deal with these things is that you get screen shake when you're driving. Like, I don't have it in front of me right now, but the previous unit to this one, the only one, and I mean this because I own 3 of them because of this. I need, backups just in case. I'll probably sell them now, actually. Or maybe I won't. I don't know. Anyway, the only unit that was as readable as this one was the Nuvi 50 LM, or just the Nuvi 50. That was called the Garmin Essentials series from 2012. Yeah, that long ago. And the Nuvi 50 had the most readable display you ever saw. It was absolutely just gorgeous, so readable, but unfortunately the unit was a little too basic. This is the first I've seen that's actually more readable than that unit. And put it this way, I hold the Nuvi 50 to a very high legibility standard. I finally got one 8 years later that finally cut the mustard, and this one really, really, really works nice. So when you're driving with this, the most important thing is now there's some, okay, I'll just say it like this. When it comes to navigation, there are some people who just like to listen for prompts, and there are some people that like to see what's going on the map. I am a mapper, I guess you can call it. Instead of a listener, I'm a mapper. And I want to see everything. And not only that, but I want to be able to read everything. I can read every single thing on this screen. Everything's been improved. It's only a 1/2 inch difference from the regular 5-inch, because this is an edge to edge. Because you see the Garmin logo, like, over here and whatever. Yes, it is is it significantly larger? Well, here's the funny thing about that. The physical size of this, believe it or not, is actually smaller. It is smaller than the previous 5-inch model, but the screen, the display is bigger. It's true. I actually looked up the physical dimensions of it. So if you were expecting this to be physically larger than the previous generation 5-inch model, it is not. Only the display is larger on this one. Which means whatever solution, if you're running a 5-inch model now, this will absolutely fit. You don't have to worry about it. It will absolutely fit, which is nice to know. The only time you get something significantly larger is if you went for a DriveSmart 65, and that is like almost 7 inches across, and something like 3 inch or 3.5 inches. That's a big one. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you exactly what to expect for the size, comparatively speaking. Okay, if you have a 5-inch Garmin now, this one is physically slightly smaller with but it has a larger display. The DriveSmart 65 is almost exactly the size of a double DIN slot. Now, if you don't know what that is, double DIN, meaning DIN, that is what is used. You can look it up on eBay. Just search for double DIN. And what that is that's a standard measurement for a car stereo. It's like there's a single DIN, which is like the car stereos from the 80s and early 90s, and then there's a double DIN, which is like the single DIN stacked. The DriveSmart 65 is just ever so slightly smaller than a double DIN. Now, a double DIN is 7-inch by 4-inch. That is what double DIN size is. The physical dimensions of the DriveSmart 65 are almost that size, and I say almost because you'll notice it says it's got a 6.95 inch display. It's not exactly 7-inch, but close. So this means actually the DriveSmart 65 will fit in a double DIN. You can't mount it because there's nothing for it. There's no tabs to mount it on. But the point is, it will pretty much slide right in there, which is kind of amazing. As a matter of fact, I have seen some things online, some photos where some people took the faceplate off of a doubled-in radio and just put the DriveSmart 65 in front of it, and it fits like a glove. They just rested it against it and used double-sided Velcro. Yeah, it actually works. I was like, wow. But then there you go. So now you have an idea of what size. Oops, sorry, hit the phone there. Of what size to expect when you are comparing the 55 to the 65. My opinion, as far as which one should you get, well, I think I drive a small car, so the 55 actually worked out quite well. 65 is nice, but for a lot of if you have like a truck or an SUV, 65 will work out pretty well. For Camry size, like mid-sized sedans and compact cars, this would, I believe, this is the better one to get. It's got better resolution. It's very easily readable. I love this. I think this thing's great. Now, the last thing I'll talk about before ending this video is that you may have read some Amazon reviews or reviews elsewhere that says this thing overheats. Now, as I'm running this right now and I'm feeling the back of it, it's a little bit warm, just a little bit. When the screen is at full brightness, if you run this thing, if you stick it to the glass and it's summer and you are running Bluetooth and Wi-Fi all at once, chances are it will overheat. This is not like the older units where this is a very thin case. And to be blunt honest, that the doesn't have much for heat escapement. So will it overheat on hotter days? Probably. I'm not going to lie about that. I have no reason to. Now, what you can do to mitigate that, to get around that, what I would suggest is that if you can, if it's doable for you, if you don't run Bluetooth, don't run Wi-Fi, and you can use some type of vent mount, which Garmin does sell, and keep it as out of the sun as you can. If you can put it in front of a vent, that's great, because you can turn on the AC and it would that would keep the unit cooled down. Even if it was just on air and not running AC, you can just blow air on it. I mean, that's the sad truth of it, is that these units, much like smartphones, just can't take sunlight. They really not. It's just one of those things. So I don't believe this thing has an overheating issue. The only one I've really read is from someone that used a 65 in an RV. And of course, you know that an RV, most of them have windshields that are, shaped like a brick, pretty much. It's basically a brick on wheels. There's a lot of sunshine coming through that. And they were running it probably for 6-7 hours straight. And then it overheated. Under normal driving conditions, though, probably not. But I will say, though, when I've been through a bunch of Garmin's, and I can feel heat on this thing, even inside, and running it inside right now as I'm filming this. Yeah. Now, I haven't even had this thing a week yet, so we'll see what happens after a while. But so far, so good. And actually, this is the very last thing I'll say. There's another thing about this that no one talks about. This is a positive thing that I'll say. They introduced this with a software update on the 51, and this one has it by default. It has GPS and Galileo satellite reception. This thing is so ridiculously accurate. As far as the positioning goes, the position resolution, it's top drawer. It's better than any cell phone. Cell phones, as far as I know, the vast majority of them do not do Galileo and GPS. They'll do GPS and cell tower and Wi-Fi, which is good. But when you have a GPS and Galileo combination, I've already taken this on a few runs, and I cannot believe this thing I mean, this gets better than 10-foot resolution. Like, the best resolution you can get with GPS normally is, I mean, in a perfect situation, probably about 6 feet. The lower the number, the better the resolution. I'm pretty sure this one gets this under 5 feet. It's that good. That's just, this thing is just crazy accurate as far as knowing where it is. So anyway, I hope that gives you some information. Make your purchasing decision better on whether to get a 55 or not. Ultimately, is it better than a 51? Yes. That's an absolute yes, because it doesn't have any of those annoying banners, and everything is more readable. Is it better than the storied 3597? Yes. The user interface is better. It's just better. I guarantee, yeah, you'll love it. I love it. So make sure you buy one new. Don't buy a refurb. Don't buy a refurb. Don't do that. Ugh. You're gonna get a bad one if you do a refurb. Believe me, there's a reason they're refurbed, and it's usually bad battery or a bad screens or both. So don't do it. Get it new. It's okay if you get an EX, and you'll be real happy with it. I know I am. See you later.